He's back.
All
I
right,
need one of those Bass Bros hat.
bro. It was $7. So
Seriously.
you can get them
You got
online.
that Bass Bros?
Yeah.
Yeah. I've
I
seen the all white ones. They look legit.
Oh yeah, bro. I buy like a bunch of them at a time just because they're like my everyday hats.
Yeah, yeah.
Gotta roll with it. Well, we're here with Sammy Boy, whatever you want to call him today.
Let's go.
If you guys don't know him, he is a beast. We followed each other probably for like a year and a half on Instagram, just kind of been friends. So
Yeah,
excited to have you on, bro. This is just us having a conversation as if you and I were at coffee,
for
but
sure.
people get to listen in and get wisdom from you and whatever I say. So
Yeah, yeah.
I'm pumped to have you on, bro.
No, for sure, man. Thank you. Um, Next time though, let's make sure it is with a coffee in hand because
Yeah,
I
sure.
would love
I
that.
have a lot of water. That helps.
I just got a cup of Starbucks, but I know how you don't like that, so I won't talk
Yeah,
about Starbucks
I,
anymore.
bro, I won't judge you at all. Like, I had to get my girlfriend Starbucks this morning, and like, she was like, "Can I get Starbucks?" And there was a bunch of local coffee shops on the way to there, and I was like, what
What are
is
you doing?
like? Listen, I'll pray for you later, but this is a moment. But hey,
Yes.
pumpkin cream cold brew is so fire. I don't know about this caramel brulee thing. I don't know what's going
Yeah,
on with
yeah,
that, but yeah.
yeah.
What's your Starbucks order, bro?
Me right now, bro, during the fall season is everything pumpkin.
Yeah, for
I
sure.
Everything pumpkin from the cold brew to just regular hot pumpkin spice latte
Yep.
to cold. I just got now the just a cold iced
Mhm.
pumpkin spice latte, but
So
um,
good.
just everything pumpkin from Starbucks during the
Yeah.
fall
Hey,
season.
bro, it's good. You gotta
And
roll.
I own it too. I own
Yeah,
it.
you
It's
gotta
funny.
embrace
All
it.
of my friends are like, "Who are you during the fall season?" And I'm like, "Hey, you just got to own it. It's
Yeah,
pumpkin."
like, I'm a basic white girl, and I can't help
100%.
it. Hey, I'm here for it.
Oh
So,
man.
tell the viewers a little bit about yourself, who you are, if you have kids or not, what you do for a living, all that.
Yeah. Sammy, I'm living in South Carolina right now. Small city of Rock Hill in South Carolina. I am married to my beautiful bride, Brittany. Brittany and I have been married for 9 years,
Come on.
uh, going to 10 next year, which I'm excited to celebrate that.
Yeah,
Um, we're planning a big trip. Um,
come
so
on.
that's going to be fun. But we together have 5 kids. And so it's been just crazy.
Yeah.
The pandemic happened, and right when the shutdown happened was when we um, adopted our fifth. And
Wow.
so it's just been like, I mean, we didn't know the pandemic was going to happen, but it all collided. And it's just been an adjustment period, but it's been great. We have 5 kiddos, and for the first time now, I'm a youth pastor
Come
with
on.
my own daughter in the youth ministry because
So
she's
cool.
12 years old. But yeah, I'm a youth pastor here for Elevation Church, the Riverwalk campus in South Carolina, and been doing that for 3 years now here.
Mhm.
Um, love, love youth ministry, love Elevation Church, and Pastor Stephen. And so it's just been an awesome journey for us. Originally from Florida, but we
Wow.
moved up here for Elevation, and we've been here since. So
Yeah.
um, just been cool.
Mhm. Where did you live? Where were you, like, born and raised, or is it in Florida, or
No, no. So this is going to be good. You're asking great questions because most people wouldn't guess. But I was raised in Florida,
Mhm.
but I was born in a small, tiny country called Cape Verde Islands.
Nice.
Um, Most people wouldn't even know the country.
Yeah,
Very tiny. Most maps, actually, Josh, does not even have it on
dang.
the map. It's crazy. But yeah, so I was born there, moved over here when I was 9, and was raised in Florida. So my first language is Portuguese.
Wow.
So English is my second language.
Are you fluent in Portuguese still, or
Yeah, yeah, I'm pretty fluent. So when you're in Cape Verde, it's like Portuguese is like the professional language. Like
yeah.
you go to school, work, that's what you're speaking. And then when you're hanging out with friends and family, it's Cape Verdean Creole, which
Ah,
is Portuguese mixed with African dialect.
wow.
And so you're basically speaking two languages in the country.
Well, you should have told me that, bro, because we could have just done it in that language this whole time.
I know, right?
I'm very fluent in that.
Very,
Yeah,
very. The viewers don't know, but
yeah.
when we're just
Hey,
talking,
we'll have the little subtitles like all the preachers on Instagram, the little 2-minute sound bites.
yes, yes.
Speaking of that, no, just kidding. No, so yeah, tell me how youth ministry's been over COVID, now, whatever you want to call this season. Uh,
Yeah.
yeah, talk a little bit about that.
For sure. Man, youth ministry has been I've I've been in youth ministry since the age of 22. I'm 28. So this is my 6th year and it's as different as it's ever been. Um but the thing is about it, and I was telling some of my leaders the other day, probably the most I've learned and my most favorite out of all the years I've been in youth ministry
Wow.
because it's helped me do things that I was already that is not programmed in me. So I had to find a new thing in Sammy
Yeah.
to do in youth ministry, that it wasn't the same old same youth ministry, or kind of the same perspective and
Hmm.
the same way to reach youth. And COVID has brought a new sense of creativity that that I had to tap into. And what's more special about that is seeing leaders
Yeah.
tap into that. And so I've sat back inspired, like,
Yeah.
in the world, you're able to do that through Zoom. That's
Mhm.
amazing.
Yeah. Right.
So so COVID has been a little crazy. It's up and down season, but man, we had been doing youth nights at our Riverwalk campus, which is every Wednesday night, and we had launched it last year in the summer, and it's every Wednesday. So every youth came to the campus, hung out.
Yeah.
Beginning of the year was incredible,
Mhm.
man. Josh, it was like we started January 2020, and we weren't really expecting much. We were like, we're gonna keep staying consistent and
Right.
watch what God does, and it was like 75, and then 80, and then 90, and then 98, and then
Yep.
100, and it just kept going up. And it was like at 125, 128, and then it was like shut down.
Yep.
And we're like, no.
Right. Yeah.
So we pivoted though, and that's what I've learned. Like you said, how's youth ministry in COVID? It's being flexible
Yep.
and being able to pivot in a way that mission and vision continues to stay the same
Mhm.
and continues to run strong. But what are you doing in your pivot? And so we were able to take youth nights that was in person, and we brought it to Zoom. And I took weeks, man, sitting down with my production director, and we just walked through Zoom. And I'm like, I'm gonna be the Zoom expert,
Right.
um,
Come on.
because we're doing youth nights through Zoom. And um, what I realized is that um, if I thought I was a youth director, but I wasn't willing to let go of my perspective of what youth ministry is supposed to look like and take on what God can actually do without my limitations,
Right.
then I was able to see greater things happen. And uh, man, through Zoom, we were having 70 to 80 kids show up,
Wow.
plus leaders. And it caught me off guard. I was like, what? Because in the fall of last year, we were in person and the average attendance was 65.
Yeah.
And so if we're seeing 70 to 80 on Zoom, I'm like, God, I am just so sorry.
Yeah.
I'm so sorry. I put limits on this, on you, and I didn't think this was going to work. And we did Zoom for since March till July, for youth nights and for rhythm nights. And
Yep.
rhythm night is basically what we do Elevation Youth globally.
Mhm.
Um, and youth nights is more local for Riverwalk campus. So we did that through Zoom, man, until July. Then August, I called a break because
Mm.
our leaders ran hard. We all ran hard, and our youth were like, my eyes are hurting.
Yeah. Right.
um,
Yeah.
because I mean, we did our YouthX Elevation Youth Conference
Mhm.
YouTube as well. So everything had been screens for since March. And so we cut it in August for a month break, and our leaders were still caring for our youth, still talking with them and all of that. And then we launched it back in September. We did Zoom for 1 month, but now we're in person. Um, and so that was more of a conviction for me, knowing that in this season, what our youth needs most is community
Yes.
that they haven't had in 8 months.
Right.
So so we decided, hey, let's do it in person. But one thing is that, and I'm sure with your business and with social media, um, I don't want to speak for you, but I'm sure you've learned so much
Oh,
during COVID, right? Um, that you're like, I can't just not take this with me. I got to take some with me. And that's what we're doing right now. We're doing in person and on Zoom
mm,
for group time. So we'll come in person 6 to 8, but when we go into group time at 7:15, some youth come on Zoom. So our leaders have laptops
yeah.
at the campus during their group time. So you have some on Zoom, some in person,
Mhm.
and it's just this
Oh,
beautiful collide that we learned from it. God did incredible things through Zoom. I mean, at Youth X, I got to lead a youth in a salvation
wow.
through Zoom.
Come on.
Like,
That's
I'm
so
like,
awesome.
God, I'm not deserving of this. I wasn't even a believer of Zoom, and
Right.
so so that happened, man. So it's just been cool, watching what God uh, is doing
Mhm.
when I decided to take away my limitation and my own perspective of what
Yeah.
youth ministry should be.
Dude, it's brilliant. Even me, so like I planted, Lex and I, and then our pastors, us four, really
Yeah.
last September started the journey of planting a church, and
Mm.
we launched the third week of January. We're a campus, we're a church for 5 weeks, and then COVID happened.
Wow.
So we were at the like 140, 150, and then it was like boom, shut down. So
Yeah.
that was obviously a huge pivot, like you said. And one of our core values that is stuck through this and we're back in person now, and things are
Yeah.
thriving, and it's awesome. But in that season, it was like, one of our core values called United in Jesus,
That's
and
great.
it says like before any method or personal preference, we're united on Jesus and His message. So
Beautiful.
it's like that's been the thing, bro. It's like the method can change. We can do any method, but the message is the same. That's Jesus. So it's like,
Yeah.
there was a season where I had to do everything online, and it was like we had groups, and I was talking to like 40-year-old married couples on Zoom, and I'm like, all right, let's go. Like, um, but like, hey, it's the pivot you said. But one thing I wanted to highlight and
Yeah.
kind of like transition into, you really
Yeah.
highlighted really well that your leaders stepped up in this season.
Yeah.
um, and how do you feel, your role is to pastor and lead, your leaders? Like, what does that look like? Because I know a lot of people, and I'm not throwing shade. I'm just saying there's a lot of ministries that kind of
Yeah.
have one man shows,
Yeah.
and it's like, hey, I can lead worship, I can preach, I can, and it's like, okay, that's awesome, but how are you empowering and leading people?
Yeah.
I would love to hear your wisdom on that and what that looks like.
Yeah, absolutely, man. I I realized, so like anytime you look in scripture, you just realize that like even when God called a specific person,
Hmm.
he always had this like second person
Yep.
along with them. You can look at Jonathan when he decided to go and fight his the army, and he was
Yeah.
so bold, but he has his armor bearer that
Right.
was with him. And then you see God calling Moses saying, I want you to speak, but it's okay, I have Aaron coming.
Yep.
And many times in scripture you see Saul and another person. You see Peter and John. You see, it's just like a way of knowing that if you try to do things alone, you can only go so far.
Right.
Because everyone, I believe everyone has a capacity
Hmm.
in what they can do, and strengths and gifting. And what what I've realized is that if I try to do everything on my own, my gifts will only take me so far.
Yes.
But when I'm able to empower and bring my gift alongside someone else's gift, God has full reign to use that
Mhm.
in ways that I never thought was possible. And I know that I'm in this ministry not for me,
Yeah.
but for what I want to see in others.
Mhm.
And I love taking a step back and watching the leaders just pastor
Yeah.
our youth because I'm a pastor of pastors. That's the way I see
Yeah.
it. Um, and I can't be the lid
Mhm.
of what God does. I
Yeah.
can't. If I'm the lid, then all of my leaders, because they're just gonna stop at my lid.
Right.
And I want people to surpass me. I
Mhm.
want people to do everything that God has called them to do. And so in this season, I've literally been telling the vision has basically been, hey, who God has called you to be is not for any other season other than this one right now.
Mm.
And I need you to believe it because what he's equipped you with and what he's called you to is for 2020.
Yeah.
He didn't call you for 1978, 2035, 2006 to be a group leader, but he called you to be a group leader right now in
Yeah.
2020, knowing that a youth needs this exact leader to
Mm.
get them through this season. And when we can realize that responsibility and ownership,
Mhm.
then I've done what God has called me to do, which is
Yes.
point to Jesus and make disciples.
Mhm.
And um, and I feel like if I don't do that, I'm hogging.
Yeah.
Um,
Right.
I'm hogging to everything that God has given me.
Mhm.
And I've seen my leaders be way more creative, way more loving, way more kind,
Yeah.
way better than I could ever be in this season. I mean, I've had leaders do cooking show and baking cook-offs on Zoom
Come
and
on.
like Netflix parties and like try not to laugh competition and talent show on Zoom.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I would have never thought
Right.
if I would have never given. This is the word. This is the word as a leader that leads leaders
Mhm.
is for you to give them permission to feel freedom.
Wow.
That word is freedom to
Yeah.
do what God has called them to do.
Mhm.
And what they're literally after you've called them to be who God has called them to be, first of all, they've never believed in it unless you've believed it in them first.
Right.
So the other thing they're waiting for is permission of freedom.
Mhm.
Freedom to love the way they're called to love, freedom to care the way they're called to care, freedom to lead in which they're called to lead, and freedom to also make mistakes.
Yeah.
That's important
Mhm.
um, because if that doesn't happen, then they're also staying stagnant because they're like, I don't want to make mistake. Is this going to be?
Right.
When is Sammy going to tell me? And I'm like, I'm giving you freedom, knowing you've invited me in your life to also
Mhm.
coach and pastor. So I'm going to give you freedom to do
Right.
what God has called you to do. And once mistakes come, and once things happen, we'll talk about it. Um, but I want you to do what God has called you to do.
Yeah.
And for me, that's been so helpful, man. I have incredible leaders. I mean, I'm so honored. And the one thing to do, Josh, with leaders listening to this, don't ever, don't ever forget to care
Yeah.
and love those you lead.
Mhm.
I mean, you'll be surprised how a phone call, a voice memo, a FaceTime, or sending them a Starbucks gift card
Yeah.
will do to
Right.
their soul. Um, and you'll be surprised how one thing that never costs you anything is telling someone how grateful you are
Mhm. Wow.
about them and for them. Being, you know, telling someone how thankful you are will never cost you anything
Mhm.
because your breath, that will never cost you your breath. You already have it
Mhm.
and you'll continue to have it until God calls you to see him face to face.
Right.
But it'll never cost you anything. So tell someone how thankful and grateful you are
Mhm.
for them. And and that requires vulnerability and authenticity.
Yeah.
And in this season, I've I've dug deep to have that
Mhm.
because you said you guys are launch a church and then shut down, and
Right.
you don't want those that are following to think as if you always have it all together.
Yeah.
Sometimes they just want to hear Josh say, "I'm tired too.
Right.
I'm tired too." But hey, I believe God has great. Like I've always said, I'm tired because I've always said right after that, what's next is better. So
Mm.
it's okay to say you're tired right now, because if you can be confident and confess what's happening right now, God is going to equip you for what's ahead. Um, and so saying you're tired, meaning you're confessing that you need rest.
Yeah.
And so it's okay to say I'm tired. It's okay to rest,
Mhm.
because in your rest, you're growing into a new sense of faith that God has given you for
Yeah.
what's ahead. And so being patient, being authentic,
Mhm.
being vulnerable, and telling them how much they're amazing and that they need rest sometimes is important, man.
Mhm. That's brilliant. So much wisdom, Sammy. You're the best. All right, rapid fire questions here. These are
Go
big
ahead,
questions. These are pivotal questions in the last 4 to 5 minutes of this conversation.
do it.
Number one, your favorite NBA team.
Golden State Warriors.
Okay. I'm not gonna respond because I mean I could come off mental. It's fine. We're not going there today. We're not going there today.
Let's not. Let's not.
I'm just kidding. Who can't like the Golden State Warriors? All right, number two, favorite Bible verse.
Hebrews 6:19.
Hmm,
For
okay.
I have an anchor, or I have a hope as an anchor for my soul, firm and secure.
Pause. Funny you just said that. I was reading oh, it's How's Your Soul by Judah Smith. And he was
Yes,
writing
I
he's
have that
talking,
book.
he's talking about like Jesus being our anchor. And
Hmm.
he was like, I wish Jesus was our helicopter,
Yes,
taking me out of the storm, not keeping me.
yes.
I was
It's like, where you at?
like, yeah, right. It's so brilliant. I love it.
Yeah.
We already talked about your coffee order. That's fine. We're not even gonna bring that one up again. Favorite thing to do when you're not working, or like if you're by yourself, you could do one thing. What would that be?
Soccer.
Hmm. Okay.
It's
Is
my
that your
absolute favorite thing to do.
yeah
I mean,
favorite
hobby,
sport? Everything.
favorite sport. Yes.
Who's your favorite soccer team?
Manchester United.
Okay, that's really cool because I like Manchester City.
Oh no.
Yeah,
Oh my no.
so here's the honest reason why. So I used to like this soccer player called Wilfred Boney, and he
Hmm.
not even that like famous at all, but he was like super good on FIFA, and I
Yeah.
would trash my friends in FIFA with him, and he transferred to Manchester City. So I was like, hey, it's
Yeah.
my team.
Yeah.
Um, so there's that.
Nice.
What have you been like researching or learning right now? Like, what have you been reading a specific book or watching YouTube videos, or what have you kind of been researching?
Yeah, that's a great question, man. Right now, I've been actually reading. Um, I believe I don't want to get the. I always say the title wrong. I think it's "Take Back Your Life" by
Mm,
Pastor Levi Lusko.
yeah.
It's the 40-day journey
Mhm.
to basically take your life back. I've been reading that and just learning so much from Pastor Levi.
Mhm.
How sometimes you can easily just give your life to the enemy
Yeah.
without even knowing and without even recognizing. And this has really helped me, especially in this season, because it could be a lot of lies in here.
Mhm.
And then you project
100%.
that out to who you lead and
Yep.
your family, all of that kind of stuff. And so that's really been helpful for me and my soul. And
Mhm.
reading that from Pastor Levi. And then just been reading Exodus 14, to be honest. I've been like in that story. It's funny because I'm sure many of us have read Exodus 14 and God parting the Red Sea and Moses holding up his staff, all that kind of stuff. But it's just been great in this season because God is teaching me the word patience.
Mm,
Um, and I'm a Enneagram 3. I'm an achiever
awesome.
and I'm gonna run hard and I'm passionate. And we went to the mountains last month for family vacation. And really, I just felt exhausted, Josh. I felt like I wasn't doing anything right. I let some lies get to me for sure, and I just needed God to just tell me something,
Yeah.
something, even if it's one word. And kind of towards the end of our stay there, I was reading in Exodus 14, and the word patient came along, just because I saw something in there that I never saw before. And it said that when um, when Moses held up his staff, he had to hold up his staff all night long.
Wow.
I had never seen that before,
No.
and I've read it so many times, and knowing that's a long time to hold up the staff.
Yeah.
and and he didn't do that while like it was visible. It was in the middle of the night,
Right.
when it's you can't see what's going on. There's uncertainty. I'm sure it was dark. It was cold. Um, but it was funny. God told Moses to tell people to move before he even told him to hold up his staff. So um, knowing that like God is performing miracles when I'm
Mhm.
not seeing, but when I'm being patient doing what He's called me to do, even if it takes all night long.
Mhm.
Um, and so that's been really, I've been digging into that story, um, studying it a whole lot. It's been
Yeah.
helping me. I got to talk to our group leaders about it, talked about being patient under pressure. Um, and so, yeah, man, Exodus 14 and taking back your life um, has been what I've been studying right now.
That's brilliant. Really good word. Might have to steal it someday. You never know. Look, Josh just preached on Exodus 14, patience under pressure. What?
Let's go. Hey, I want to listen to that. If you preach on that, I definitely want to listen to it. So
Yeah, like really got a revelation last week on Zoom.
came
No,
out of nowhere.
hey,
My
yeah,
God.
just hit me on this weird day in the afternoon. Big day for me, honestly. But
Yes, yes.
well, dude, thank you so much for being on. I feel like you and I could talk for like 10 hours.
I know,
Um,
man.
as you know, I kind of have a busy next couple hours. So
Yeah, yeah,
here's the thing: people are not going to see this till like next week. So
yeah.
while you guys are watching it, I'm proposing in like 2.5 hours.
Go.
So,
Let's go.
bro, this is a real test of Lexi actually watches my videos, though. I'm just saying.
Bro, if I know. You better get a text when this comes out of like, "Hey, I can't believe it. You said it in the video."
I'm like, hey,
If you don't get that though, that's a conversation.
yeah, hey, babe, seriously, honestly, man, honestly, babe, you got to support me.
Come on. Come on now.
Gotta get the views
Um,
up, babe. Come on. Just kidding. Bro, I love you so much. You've been a great friend from afar.
yeah.
It's been super cool just to connect on IG Live a couple months ago and now
Yeah.
on Zoom. So
Which we do need to do that again.
we absolutely need to do that again, like ASAP.
Yes. So
Bro.
love you, bro. I
Yeah.
so honored to be able to do this with you, man. I really truly treasure your friendship from afar. I love how young and hungry and passionate after Jesus you are.
Mhm.
That inspires me. That keeps me going. And knowing that, man, when God gets a hold of someone as strong and passionate and bold as you